Good morning, this is the Paradise Unicorn Priestess bringing you day 87 of A Course in Miracles, the Yin translation where we use female words. This would be March 28th if you are starting at the new year. The inheritance of God's child. Never forget that the childship is your salvation, for the childship is your self. As God's creation, it is yours, and belonging to you, it is hers. Your self does not need salvation, but your mind needs to learn what salvation is. You are not saved from anything, but you are saved for glory. Glory is your inheritance, given you by your Creator, that you might extend it. Yet if you hate part of yourself, all your understanding is lost, because you are looking on what God created as yourself without love. And since what she created is part of her, you are denying her her place in her own altar. Could you try to make God homeless and know that you are at home? Can the child deny the mother without believing that the mother has denied her? God's laws hold only for your protection, and they never hold in vain. What you experience when you deny your mother is still for your protection. For the power of your will cannot be lessened without the intervention of God against it, and any limitation on your power is not the will of God. Therefore, look only to the power that God gave to save you, remembering that it is yours because it is hers, and join with your sisters in her peace. Your peace lies in its limitlessness. Limit the peace you share, and yourself must be unknown to you. Every altar to God is part of you. Because the light she created is one with her, would you cut off a sister from the light that is yours? You would not do so if you realize that you can darken only your own mind. As you bring her back, so will you return. That is the law of God, for the protection of the wholeness of her child. Only you can deprive yourself of anything. Do not oppose this realization, for it is truly the beginning of the dawn of light. Remember also that the denial of this simple fact takes many forms, and these you must learn to recognize and to oppose steadfastly without exception. This is a crucial step in the reawakening. The beginning phases of this reversal are often quite painful, for as blame is withdrawn from without, there is a strong tendency to harbor it within. It is difficult at first to realize that this is exactly the same thing, for there is no distinction between within and without. If your sisters are part of you, and you blame them for your deprivation, you are blaming yourself, and you cannot blame yourself without blaming them. That is why blame must be undone, not seen elsewhere. Lay it to yourself, and you cannot know yourself, for only the ego blames it all. Self-blame is therefore ego identification, and as much an ego defense as blaming others. You cannot enter God's presence if you attack her child. When her child lifts her voice in praise of her Creator, she will hear the voice of her mother. Yet the Creator cannot be praised without her child, for their glory is shared and they are glorified together. Christ is at God's altar, waiting to welcome her child, but come wholly without condemnation, for otherwise you will believe that the door is barred and you cannot enter. The door is not barred, and it is impossible that you cannot enter the place where God would have you be. But love yourself with the love of Christ, for so does your mother love you. You can refuse to enter, but you cannot bar the door that Christ holds open. Come unto me, who hold it open for you. For while I live, it cannot be shut, and I live forever. God is my life and yours, and nothing is denied by God to her child. At God's altar, Christ waits for the restoration of herself in you. God knows her child as wholly blameless as herself, and she is approached through the appreciation of her child. Christ waits for your acceptance of her as yourself, and of her wholeness as yours. For Christ is the child of God, who lives in her Creator and shines with her glory. Christ is the extension of the love and the loveliness of God, as perfect as her Creator and at peace with her. Blessed is the child of God whose radiance is of her mother, and whose glory she wills to share as her mother shares it with her. There is no condemnation in the child, for there is no condemnation in the mother. Sharing the perfect love of the mother, the child must share what belongs to her, for otherwise she will not know the mother or the child. Peace be unto you who rest in God, and in whom the whole childship rests. This reading we had today lets us know that when someone starts on this path and begins withdrawing blame on all the things that seem to be in the outside world, that energy of blame still has momentum, and so the person tends to experience more internal self-blame, and it can be very painful. And this reading reminds us that it's the same blame whether it's pointed without or pointed within, and all forms of blame are ego identification and to be let go of. We are not to hurt God's child. That includes ourselves. We are all part of God's child. God's child is one. Lesson 87. Review of lessons 73 through 74. Our review today will cover these ideas. 73. I will there be light. I will use the power of my will today. It is not my will to grope about in darkness, fearful of shadows and afraid of things unseen and unreal. Light shall be my guide today. I will follow it where it leads me, and I will look only on what it shows me. This day I will experience the peace of true perception. These forms of this idea would be helpful for specific applications. This cannot hide the light I will to see. You stand with me in light, name. In the light, this will look different. 74. There is no will but God's. I am safe today because there is no will but God's. I can become afraid only when I believe there is another will. I try to attack only when I am afraid, and only when I try to attack can I believe that my eternal safety is threatened. Today I will recognize that all this has not occurred. I am safe because there is no will but God's. There are some useful forms of this idea for specific application. Let me perceive this in accordance with the will of God. It is God's will. You are her child, name, and mine as well. This is part of God's will for me, however I may see it. This hints at the idea when it talks about our creations and our loving them and them loving us. I have wondered about this, and there's little hints sprinkled in A Course in Miracles that what is referred to as our creations is our sisters all around us, all the rest of creation, because if we are part of God, then we created everything with God, and so everything we see around us that is God's creation is our creation as well. I don't know for sure if that is what it is referring to. Another thing that I have thought of is that whenever we feel love for something, like when we're caught up in doing beautiful art, creating music, doing gardening, some beautiful wholesome activity, or when we are feeling great love for another, that love is the only thing that's real, and that love is our creation. As the dream is purified, as we learn to see more and more close to reality and let go of all that is painful, more and more what is around us will just be love, loving things, beautiful things. As we encounter something that is painful and not beautiful, we simply say, that is not real. That's just a dream. That is something that God never intended to be. And we don't give it energy. We don't energize it. We don't push at it or pull at it, causing it to be stronger, our belief in it. We don't strengthen our belief in it. And my other thought that I keep thinking is how, I don't know about you, but this has happened to me, where in my night of sleep, I have a dream in which my beloved does something that makes me mad. And I have the curious experience of waking up and still being mad about what happened. Well, that's not fair. It didn't happen. It was in the dream. I try to remember that whenever I encounter something in what I think of as reality that seems really upsetting. I try to remember that curious experience of having a dream about my beloved in which my beloved has done something that they would not do. And that's like an allegory for this whole thing. We're constantly dreaming that our beloved has done something that they would never ever do. We just withdraw our belief from the dream. Anyway, may your reviewing be blessed. Until next time.